I'm Mamba Smith, and this is The Skinny.
From the Fatheads Eyewear Studios in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny. Brought to you by Toyota, Rhino Classifieds, General Tire, and Dream Giveaway. This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by General Tire. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. Once again, welcome back to The Skinny. We've got a great guest with us here today. Of course, Rico Elmore sitting alongside, as always, Ken Stout. And we have Mamba Smith with us, Dylan Mamba Smith, Dylan Black Mamba Smith, whatever you'd like to call him. But he is in the house, and I heard a lot about him before he got here. And I'm like, I'm just not familiar with the guy, but welcome. I've since learned a little bit about you. Great personality, as we had lunch here a little bit earlier. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, you guys can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah.
Because I'm always hungry. Not as hungry as Rico is, but I'm pretty hungry.
You snuck in for lunch there pretty good.
I know the green room.
Yeah.
We had a whole green room set up of beautiful things,
It's
and
awesome.
crapments and such.
So you've bounced around in the industry. You've had a number of different jobs. You've done some racing, and the Snowflake 100 certainly, man, that's a big race for sure. Very, very competitive. A lot of tough players, and you did qualify for that one. I did listen, by the way, to a podcast that talked about the qualifying situation there.
Yeah.
Which, man, oh man, I get goosebumps talking about it, but that had to be pretty wild to
Dude.
end up on the bubble.
Yeah, so first off, thank you, Rico, for coming on. That was like a really late-minute deal. Rico and you guys with Fatheads came on. We had Miss Cindy Elliott came on too. Really, it's cool to have two groups from the same area come on like that. And I only race once a year, so we did the Snowflake. Like everyone's like, why do you race once a year? Why do you do snow? Well, first off, it's expensive to go racing. So, but I decided that if I'm gonna go run, I want to do it when people are the most eyes are on. Well, at the same time, those big races brings all the big guns and all the guys that have been running all year, and they're ready to go. So I go down there with Lee Falk. I'm like, man, I think we're going to be pretty good. Like, this is the best car I've driven ever, and we're in practice, and everything's going pretty good. We're about 15th, somewhere around there. We haven't mocked up or anything. We do a mock run. Go down, and everyone's on the racetrack because it's the end of practice. Everyone's out there. And I get hemmed up with somebody and let him go. So it kind of messed up my lap. So Mike comes on the radio and goes, hey, man, give me one more. Dude, we come off at 2, and we're just geysing. It looks like I'm at Daytona, and we're chucker block full. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So I shut it down. And about that time, he said, come on, finish hard. And so I cut it back on going into the corner. So we lost however much time a pole. And I got off, they gave me the time, and I'm like, dang, man, we're going to be really good. And they were like, this is slow. Well, they didn't know that I cut off the car getting down to the 3. And I came in, and they're like, you cut it off? I'm like, yeah, I cut off they're like, you cut off at the flag stand. I'm like, well, yeah, but I cut it off down the backstretch. They're like, oh, okay, we're going to be all right. So we're feeling good. Now, in Vermont, we do heat races. So we got a little bit of that dirt car situation going on. We don't do time trials. So I didn't grow up doing time trials. Well, now we're only racing once a year, so there's no time to practice them at all.
So with that being said, what did you run in Vermont? Where did you start at?
I ran at Thunder Road Speed Bowl in Barry, Vermont, which is Ken Squire's old track. We ran American Canadian Tour Late Models, which they're like a cross between a kind of like a street stock and
In a Hornet?
yeah, basically. No. This is going to be a long show.
Dude, the Hornets are fun, man.
Yeah, those are fun.
I'm into the Hornet deal. I'm telling you right now.
I think
if I could fit in one, I would get one.
We can get you into
Cut the
one.
roof out.
The one with the driver's door, and you just open it up and
A little Capri.
Yeah.
No, they're like a late model. They're just like older late models, Pro Shocks and old Hal bars and stuff like that. So run the qualifier. All right. I missed my lap terribly. Cut the corner and they're like, I think we'll be okay. We're watching them, and cars that we were beating all week are now beating us.
What'd you get? Did you only get 1 lap or 2?
We get 2, and I cut the corner on both of them. I didn't arc it. It was just like is the worst ever. And I'm like, man,
Do you think it's
tight.
because you race so much?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think if I raced less, I probably would have done better.
I mean, there's for the people that are out there that know, they know. But for the ones that don't, I mean, qualifying alone is an art. I mean, it's an absolute. And there's qualifiers and there's racers.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to find a guy that can qualify and race. But there's some people that just rip. I mean, right out of the box, like on the mat, and rip it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just good at doing that.
This guys that are a lot. I feel like a lot. You see that a lot in dirt racing. There's guys that get in a car and they just haul the mail. Now, they might not make it 5 laps into the race with 20 other people around them, but they haul it.
They're 100%, right?
Yeah, they're right there. So, missed a lap. We're on the bubble. And I'm like, man, we put a lot of promotion into this, with Fatheads, and then Truly was on board, and the Ryan Blaney Family Foundation, and Bubba Wallace is on here, and we have all these partners on here. And I'm like, we are getting close. I am throwing up. Like, I want to puke. And this camera is dead on my face because we're sitting on the bubble for, like, the last 3. And I'm, like, trying to keep it together. I'm pacing. And we see the last car come out.
And no phones, right?
No phone. Oh, yeah, we weren't allowed to use the phone. So we couldn't even watch on Race Monitor.
Yeah, because something about somebody.
Traction control.
Yeah.
They're worried about that. And I'm like, I'm just trying to be here.
And they busted somebody with that, right?
They busted Chandler Smith in the snowflake. They busted him for having his phone, and it was like a hardcore rule. It's like, you have your phone, you got to go into the last chance. Didn't want to go in the last chance because everyone wrecks in the last chance. Dude, we're on the bubble, and the last car comes out, and it's a fast car. It actually is the guy that won the race. He qualified in through the last chance and won the race. He steps on it harder than I do, and I'm like, woo! We're in the show. The amount of stress that just fell off. Well, then I forgot that we actually had to race that night. We weren't like the snowflake cars, the supers. They get to qualify, then race the next day. We have to qualify and race the same day. Now I'm like trying to drink coffee and get myself back into it. So
after all the Trulies.
Yeah, we were celebrating down. I was celebrating like we won the 500. I'm like, oh, snap. No, but it was a good experience, and it got us to this point where I'm actually going to race Memorial Day weekend. In the pro late model series at Hickory Motor Speedway.
Great.
That's a cool place.
It's cool. It's fun. I'm excited. I told everybody.
And that's no joke there.
No
joke.
Oh no, you're in good old boy country. I mean, they know how to wheel one around.
they and it's like, it's like they were almost bred to run that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some unbelievable, like Cody Swanson. Cody went down there and ran, and. He's probably one of the smoothest guys out there, but I'm telling you, a few finishes, 5th, 6th, or whatever, and he was running for Chad Bryant.
Yeah, Chad Bryant.
Chad's late model. So that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a neat deal. I knew a little bit of your deal, and and Sarah was kept talking about this Mamba guy. Of course, you and I have known each other for a little while now.
Yeah.
She's talking, and I'm like, listen, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, like, she's just going on, like, you got a meme, and of course, he and I talk on the phone, and awesome conversation, and then of course we get to hang out. Other times we know a ton of the same people, and But yeah, I mean, so is your aspiration to run any more than you do, or what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 28, so in the way the landscape is now, which I don't really like it, but
I mean, that's hard to believe. You're 28. I'm 28 too. I mean, my hair might not have thrown.
Well, no, you're at least 28. He's 28. You're at least 28.
It's the way you lay the words out. Like, you can make something sound a lot different if you just layer it differently, right?
Periods and commas matter.
He's at least 28.
I love that. Yeah, no, I mean, the way the landscape is in asphalt racing and like NASCAR, it's like if you can find somebody to believe in you and write a big enough check, you can go run. Right? So I would love to, and I feel like I'm kind of closer to that now, because I do so much stuff off the track to attract some on-track stuff. But I think people get mixed up between the dream and the goal.
Right.
The goal is to race on Sundays. everyone wants to race on Sundays. That's the goal. The dream is to race every weekend whenever you want to and enjoy it and not have to spend a ridiculous amount of money.
Right.
And so I'm chasing the dream.
I mean,
So
think
that's it.
about all the folks that make a living doing that.
Right.
Right. Living the dream.
Right.
Really. And, and exactly what you said, that's a great way of putting it because, is the goal to be there Sunday or is it just the dream to be able to do this, as long as you need to, to keep it going. And that's the best way of putting it. But yeah, that's cool. That's a great way of putting it.
I just love racing, man. I just love it. I just want to be able to do it, have some drinks at the end of it, cheers with the boys, and just have fun.
So how did you get into it?
My dad sponsored a Bush North car.
Bush North.
Bush North, yeah.
We're going back now.
Way back.
Bush West, Bush
Yeah.
North. Yeah.
So out of my hometown, this guy named Kip Stockwell. Say that 5 times.
And you're
fast.
from the Northeast.
Yeah, I'm from Vermont. Yeah, so I loved it. We went to the local track. I was like, man, I want to do that. I was like 3 or 4. That summer, my dad bought me a go-kart. We won early, and I figured out that I like winning, and winning's fun. So we did
Isn't that amazing how
It's
that works?
weird. I never would have thought I liked winning so much. And
Whatever, it's
it's okay. My dad wanted me to be like Tiger Woods. Well, he figured out that after I started throwing clubs at like 7, maybe I was a more emotional athlete, so golf might not be
that may
my
not be the
swing.
path.
No. If I like when you in golf, like if you mess up, like it just goes downhill from there, right?
Yeah, because you come back from a bad shot easy. I mean, it doesn't stick with you. You don't think about it much.
You can hit 18 good shots in a row, and you hit
Yeah.
one bad one. The rest of your day is shot.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. These
It's
clubs
funny
are
because
horrible.
My golfing career was exactly the opposite of that. I would have let's just get closer to a real number. I would have about 102 really bad shots and 1 good one. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going back. I can do this.
I got it. I can do it.
I figured out that like I'm a good golf partner. Like if we're playing best ball, like I can tee off pretty well. I can putt pretty good. It's that middle stuff. Now the problem is, after about hole 3, I'm like 5 trulies in,
Yeah.
and there's 18 of them,
Yeah.
18 holes. So that's so we're playing best ball.
And if
I'm
you're
a good teammate.
if you're playing in a scramble, it's going slow.
Yeah.
So you definitely have a lot more time to enjoy beverages and think up more bad things to do to the next team behind you by moving the tee markers and the box markers. And I've heard all this anyhow. So
You've never seen anyone do it.
never
per se.
have been in or around any of
And
that.
then you have to survive the golf cart ride to the next hole. That's not always easy.
No.
It depends if there's bunkers. If there's bunkers, that's when it's really not easy. If there's bunkers on the way, you're like, hey, hold on. Hold your beer. Let's try this. Trying to jump it from one end to the other. I love golf, kind of.
You still play?
I hadn't until recently. COVID a little bit. That was like pretty much the only thing we could do in Charlotte. And then my
So
roommate.
COVID didn't live on the golf course, I suppose.
I didn't see it.
That's
That's a really good point.
We were there.
we were there looking around.
We were there walking around, riding the carts. And so my roommate, Ryan, well, I live in Ryan Blaney's house. So, in a detached little apartment, which is sweet. But he got into golf pretty well over the last little bit. And so when they have a foursome and they need a 4th guy, I'm always down to clown. So he has like another bag, has like a driver, maybe a 5-wood, couple irons and a putter. Like I'm like mismatching this thing together. I'm like, yeah, this will work. Give me this thing. Just
We're
smack
playing
it.
5 clubs today.
That's pretty much all I need.
All right, it's a new game today. It's a 4-club game, and got a driver, a 7-iron, a putter, and a pitching wedge.
I gotta be honest. I only use the clubs that I know I hit good with. Like it doesn't make sense. Like if I'm hitting good with a 5, I'm hitting the 5 all the way up and down the
Stick
fairway.
with what works, man.
Yeah,
Swing it a little harder, a little longer, and
it's fine.
Yeah, I used to play a lot in another lifetime, but I enjoyed it, but man, it can be frustrating. I mean, like
Yeah.
nobody's business frustrating. And, you know, Tony's got his own simulator at his house now. So, I mean, he's the next coming of like Jack Nicholson, you know, or Tiger Woods or whoever, you know, so.
I feel like Smoke, every time like he starts doing something, he just get like the bike, right? Riding the road bikes. Nicest road bike.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably had it all set up in a standard position with a little, you know, Pelotron type situation. You know, he probably had the one that rotated before they even made it. He probably came up with that idea for him.
Yeah. No, they did it. They did it at Haas's F1 garage.
Right, exactly.
Tony needs a bike to ride.
Lay one out here. Let's design one here.
He's flying in from Charlotte. He's coming to Monaco. We got to you guys got that thing set up?
Yeah. Make sure this thing's working right.
Kevin, move your stuff. Max, move your stuff. We need the bike here.
We need the bike in the middle here.
And for the folks that don't know you, you spent a lot of time at Stuart Haas.
Yeah. That's family right there, man. That's family. I got to Charlotte in 2011, January 2011. So I graduated high school in 10 and got offered a job with the diversity program in 11. Was there for a couple years, won a championship with Kyle Larson. So me and Larson go pretty far back. That's pretty cool.
So what diversity program?
So the
Max's deal?
Yeah, Max
That's
Eagles
awesome.
deal. Yeah.
He's from here.
Yeah, I know he's from Indy.
Yeah, great dude.
Dude, that deal is what opened the door for me. It's opened the door for a lot of people to be in the industry. Not just drivers, but you know, crew members, people in the front office, all types of stuff. So that's pretty cool.
But I think one of the best things about it is it's a path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a sign that says, "Hey, you can do this. Come over here and let us show you how."
Yep.
Now I'm going to switch gears, and we may have to edit this
Are
out.
you downshifting or are you upshifting?
We may have to edit this out.
Oh, he's downshifting. We're about to hit 10,000 RPM.
We're about ready to blow the heads off this thing. But
I'm going to bump the limiter for a moment.
so Bubba is is a friend.
Yep.
I don't know him, and I couldn't say that I knew him to even speak to him.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, and I've told this to many others, I am very disappointed with the pressure that they have put on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, and listen, they didn't know how to go about it. They didn't know how to do it. And the way they did it was unfortunately not good.
I will say that a lot of people most people will never understand the type of pressure that comes with. And, you know, everyone has their own opinion about the whole situation and whatever, right? But this is what people don't realize. Daryl was anointed like the guy to really show the path of diversity in motorsports for the most part, because NASCAR is basically the pinnacle, right? From
They're the pinnacle of a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
From the age of 16.
Yeah.
16 years old, they put that on his shoulders. Now, this was a kid that just wanted to be a race car driver, like everyone else. Like, he didn't really he wasn't thinking about that stuff. I didn't think about it. I never thought, I knew that Wendell Scott was a hero of mine because I could relate. Right. And that's where I got the 34 from, was Wendell Scott. But I never was like...
That's awesome. Didn't know that.
Yeah, I never was like, I want to be the first black driver. I just wanted to be a good race car driver.
Right.
And all that other stuff would come, right? So they anointed him at 16. And the pressure that comes with, and being with a company like Joe Gibbs, and being, then to KBM, and then, he makes the shift over to Rat, like with all these top flight teams, like there's a lot that goes on. And Bubba's been outspoken about his mental state, and that, he struggles with that. Like that's been documented. So you put that on top of,
and then you're going to throw, and then you're going to throw it on top of it. I mean, he talked about his battles with depression.
Yeah.
And so, somebody, and all of us have dealt with somebody like that.
Yeah.
And, you have to work with them. You have to, make them feel better. Listen, trust me, owning a business and doing all the things that we do, I don't know what depression is, but I'm pretty sure that I've been through it a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, it's
the highs and lows, man.
The highs and lows,
but to
peaks.
carry that pressure and that depression when you have, I mean, arguably the world, but certainly the country staring at you.
Exactly.
And feeling like the weight of the entire race. Your race is on you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be what it feels like. Whether it's true or not, the feeling of it, the perception of it to him has to be there.
Exactly. And I think the thing that bothers me the most about it is, look at the NHRA. Okay, we have a lot of involvement there with those guys, but look at the NHRA for, a lot of the things they could probably do better. Their diversity is second to none. You have women, Alexis DeJoria. You have Erica Anders. You have the Force girls.
Yep.
Okay.
You got LP out there.
You have Leah.
And,
you have Angel for all these years. Okay. You have J.R. Todd, who is an absolute stud world champion. You have Antron Brown, absolute stud world champion.
Cruz Petragon. So you have all of this diversity, and it's like, how did this get mixed up? Okay. NASCAR, for all of the great things they do, how did they get this sideways? Because listen, I hear a lot of the rumblings and grumblings about, when you're in the
Darryl.
network. Yeah.
And listen, and every time I hear it, I say, listen, if you had the same pressure that kid, he's a kid, okay? If you had the same pressure that kid had on him up to this point, I mean, he's lucky to even be able to put a sentence together. You know what I mean? It's a tough gig. And I try to talk, you talk about the NFLs, the Major League Baseball, and those are kids. Yeah. Those guys are kids.
Right.
Okay? Those are kids. Okay? So here's the bottom line. You have somebody running those organizations that clearly are leading them.
Right.
Okay. The NHRA never have seen him lead anyone. Okay. In that manner.
Right.
Okay. Never have seen him lead anyone. You got the best car up on the line and you ran it.
Yep.
Right. And so when you get all these folks in there that start leading these kids, hey, we need to do this because this is the right thing to do. Well, the right thing to do by who? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now Darryl not only has all this pressure of his whole race on him, as Ken said. Thanks, Ken. Good back to see you back. His whole race on him. But then you have everybody else that's the naysayer that just wants him to lose.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, so now you got that pressure. It's hard enough to race the damn thing.
Man, so Darryl, it was, man, I forget what year. It was whatever year he was running for Roush. He was fourth in points in the Xfinity points. Doing well. The team didn't have enough money to run all year. Knew it. Didn't have enough money. I'm working at MDM at the time, which is like an ARCA team / truck team. I was doing social media there. So I go over. He's sitting on the couch on a Saturday, and I'm like, I'm gonna go check on my dude. So I go over to the house, and he's just, man, I have never it hurt me. Like we just sat there and watched the race, but he just like looked so dejected, like watching this. Right, that was really like he knew that he should be there, and he should have been. Well, later on that year, our truck team was going to Michigan, and we worked out a deal with Maestro's barbershop. They sponsored him at Michigan. We went off and won that race with Bubba. That, like, after he sat on the couch. So my man was on the couch, comes back and wins the truck race with Kyle Busch beating on his back bumper.
Well, and that's just it. There's so many people don't realize the rallies that he's had, right? And the things that he's went through. And again, that's what, I mean, this show right here, when we bring folks on, we really bring folks on. We don't care about the racing. Yeah. We bring folks on to talk to them about life and about who they are. They are a race car. You know what I mean? But it's like, let's get to know these people a little bit more about, before, he's a, Kyle Busch is a blah, blah, blah. Kyle Busch is a competitor.
He just wants to win, man.
He wants to win. He doesn't care. He wants to win. So, anyhow.
Well, I agree with you 100%, and we're going to take a quick break here in just a moment, but to just touch base on Kyle Busch, and as you're talking about Bubba as well, I mean, Kyle Busch gets a bad rap, and he's brought all of that stuff, by the way, on himself for the most part, but I will say...
And I love it for the most part. I love watching it happen.
I will say the biggest frustration in his life is the stupidity coming at him.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you go out to you see them in the media, in front of the media, and if you were to ask them an intelligent question that pertained to racing, something that makes sense, he would answer on a regular basis in a normal tone of voice. But when you ask some stupid shit, guess what, man? The BS meter gets pegged pretty quick, man.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have time for
No,
you.
I'm talking about you. I thought Rico was gonna hit 10,000 RPM. You just hit 12. We got Cat on the limiter over there.
But you
But
know
he's
what?
right.
But you know what it is? It's just like the interview with Tony, where he's standing there and they're asking him about the championship. And he's like, "Listen, if you're not going to come up with an original question, I'm not answering it." And I forget who it was, Marty or somebody asked him a question. He's like, "See, now Marty just asked a good question. This is an original question." I'm like, wow.
That's all they want. I mean, you got to do a little bit of homework.
yeah.
You can't just walk in and be ignorant to the entire sport and think that you're going to talk to somebody that's dedicated his entire life to this sport and get some sort of, intelligent answer back.
It's kind of like
over it.
It's kind of like the sideline reporters, right? That some people, and I won't mention who they are. So, how do you think the football game's going?
Yeah, right.
It's like we're getting the brakes beat off of us. That's how it's going.
We're down 4 touchdowns. It's the first quarter. Tom Brady's still out here slinging it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Sucks.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back on the other side. This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Rhino Classifieds. Tired of all those ads and random stuff that shows up when you're looking to buy or sell your car parts? Rhino Classifieds was created just for you. Welcome to a streamlined buying and selling app created by racers for racers and race fans. Modified cars, classic cars, race cars, that special big block you need, the trailer to move your baby around the country in. We got you at rhino.co. And once again, we're back here with the Skinny crew, and we have Mamba Smith, who has joined us here on the set, Rico alongside. Hey, before we get going here in this next segment, let's talk about the $100,000 challenge. We want to take a moment and mention an exciting event coming up soon. Fatheads Eyewear has been named the official sponsor for the inaugural Hoosier Classic Fatheads Eyewear $100,000 challenge, and you're the man behind that. Tell us a little more about it.
I just hope one of our guys wins. We got to deal with all of them, so I'm trying to work through this. Hey, what are you doing there? Are you in town?
I could be. For $100,000, I might be.
Well, hold on a minute. That isn't how the deal works.
That's not what you said.
That is not right. I said what I said.
Here, let's help him understand it a little better. The 2021 Hoosier Classic will host a trifecta of open-wheel pavement racing featuring champion sprint cars on Friday, August 13th, champion midgets on Saturday, August 14th, and the USAC Silver Crown Series held later that same day. Now, you are capable of all 3 of those cars.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. We're on
Yeah, this
asphalt.
is NASCAR weekend.
I know it is. That's a big week. You
Yeah.
guys are going to have so many people out there for that. That's going to be great.
Right.
And you're exactly right. The Hoosier Classic is set to take place in conjunction with the Brickyard 400 weekend. Competitions will all take place at the Oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. If a driver wins 2 of the events, they will claim a bonus of $50,000 on top of the prize money. And if someone conquers all 3, then they take home the $100K, and that would be enough for you to keep racing some more.
That we go racing for all next year. I'm actually, me and Rico might go on a boat for a little while.
Yeah,
I might I might have to cut the big guy back in.
Yeah, maybe pull back in on this
Called
deal.
mutual respect. Hey, is Cody's going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Y'all might as well y'all are
Yeah.
going to be racing for second. You might.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's one of our guys, so I
know.
mean, you kind of understand where I'm headed with this.
Look, Cody. I will say I interviewed Cody on the Bull Ring on Speed 51 a couple weeks ago, in which I didn't even know he was going to be on. I'm like, oh, my fathead teammate. That's cool. So, but he has highly impressed me in the stock car stuff.
Right.
Like all year, he was knocking on the door at Speed Weeks. And I was like, man, he's gonna about to kick this door in, and he did. And
So I got to tell you an absolute hilarious story about that. So, and I think I've mentioned this before, but he we've been involved with him with a lot of different things. So he ran the USF 2000 car out at Lucas Oil Raceway, and for all intents and purposes, he wasn't looking that great in the race because it was way, way different the way you arc the car and you know what you're talking about, right? But I can tell you this, he's a quick study, and he pulled this thing together like nobody's business, right? So he gets going and anyhow ends up winning it. So, I mean, it was amazing. It was the first race back that Caitlin, my daughter, that's been battling with leukemia, that was our thing. We always used to go to the races together, and sometimes she'd have to drive me home. But anyhow, if I was tired, of course.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. I mean, it was a team thing. So, but
family bonding.
Family bonding. I mean, I may have been snoring.
Yeah.
But it was nice.
You're either talking probably too much or
may
snoring.
not have been snoring.
But anyhow, when we raced, and I may have the dates backwards, but when we raced Iowa, he was in Chad Bryant's 22 ARCA car.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, he was a wreck. He was an absolute nervous wreck. He is the hardest person on himself that I've ever seen of anybody in my life, right? And I mean hardcore tore up with himself. So I go up to him before he goes out on the track, and I put my arm around him. I said, listen, the hard part's done. The money's paid. It's time for you to get out there and do your thing. I said, this is going to be fun. I said, go have fun, be safe. And I said, where it sorts itself out, it'll sort itself out, because really at that point, that's where you're at with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So anyhow, he goes out, and I think he ends up finishing sixth.
It's sixth or eighth.
We'll go with sixth. We'll go with sixth.
I think it was sixth.
Six, yeah, definitely
cut
six.
him out.
Definitely six.
Anyhow, cut his mic off. Sixth. Anyhow, don't pay attention to the guy over there. Anyhow, but no. So, but when he's done, I go down and talk to him, and he's like, "I don't blame you if you never sponsor me again. I can't believe how bad I am." And I was like, did you watch the same race that I was watching? I mean, he had some tough competition out there, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, fast forward, he comes to me about speed weeks and a couple other things, and I said, yeah, I'll do it with you. I said, I'll help you out, man. I said, I'd love to see you make something happen. I said, but one thing. He said, what's that? I said, if you don't put a fender on somebody, I said, I'm never doing another thing for you. He's like,
I love that.
Well, what do you mean? Put a fender on somebody? And you know how he's the nicest,
He is not gonna do it.
Nicest individual. He goes, well, I don't want to. I go, I didn't tell you to dump him or run him into the corner till they see Elvis and drop him off. I said,
I did drop him off.
Just put a fender on him. So let him know you're there. Touch him a little bit, Well, okay. I mean, I guess I'll try it, but I mean, I don't really want to do that.
I love that. I want to speak.
So I don't know if he did or not, but I mean, he's been running great.
He's been running great.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, because you guys watch a lot of racing, been a lot of drivers, and just people in general. I was talking to Ryan about this the other day. I think the biggest head cases as far as athletes are golfers, race car drivers, and UFC fighters.
For a race car driver, you can make a pretty big mistake, in the middle of the race, and if you don't get a hold of yourself, I mean, immediately. I mean, I'm talking about in the next couple of seconds, it's going to bite you again and again and again, and you immediately get caught up in that mentally, and you're out of the hunt. You have to dismiss it right away, which is easy to say.
Yeah.
But to do when you're inside of the car, because you've been there, I've been there, he's been there. We all know exactly what happens. It's like, oh man, I just made a massive mistake, and you think to yourself, my crew, my sponsors. You think of everybody that you just affected, when what you need to do is dismiss it and go racing again. But it's really difficult to do that.
Yep.
I think Stewart did it pretty good. I think if we had a few more wrecks, people
if
would
you do
wanna
it long
watch this.
enough, you make
Figure eight
mistakes
racing.
and you crash stuff and things happen, and I think you do learn to dismiss it quicker than the first few times it happens.
If you don't have short-term memory loss playing sports, and I think in life actually in general, like bad things are going to happen, right? And that's okay. It's okay, but you can't like sit on it and dwell in it and marinate. You got to learn from it and then move and hit it again and do it better the second time.
Right, exactly. And I mean, and that's, I think there's, a lot of, the race drivers, I think, is probably, one of the toughest things because, cars handling bad, then your temper's starting to flare. It's not like, it's funny if you listen to Tony's interview on his, on his championship, in Miami, what was it, 14?
12?
Or 12, when he says,
Yeah.
he goes, yeah, when Strimmy came up, went to move, when he went to move
Yep.
and caved the front end in, and, he comes back, he comes on the radio and he's just like, listen, guys, we're just going to keep going here. He goes, we've had a hell of a run. He was like, okay, I'm accepting this. And then, somebody's U-joint flies out, smokes the grill.
Yeah.
And he's back in again after I can't remember how many cars he said he passed that at that.
was
It was like over, it was like almost 100 cars or something, right?
It-
Because he went front to back to
Right,
front to back.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it was an amazing amount of cars. But anyhow, he could have pulled one of his sometimes usual thingies that he would do. And you guys are doing a great job. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Way to give me a.
Yeah.
And you get Dad coming on the radio, Zippy. That's enough. That is enough. That's enough.
God, their relationship. Tony, man, he was my favorite race car driver growing up. Like there was when I moved to Charlotte, I would tell people that he's going to be my boss. He's going to be my car at one point. And he kind of was at one point. I drove the Haas Automation 41 late model for the Haas Diversity or the development program. So that was really cool. And I worked there, right? We became very close very quickly. And we have a lot of the same mindset. And he's like one of the guys. It's like him. It's like Tom Brady. It's like Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. I have tried to take things that they do and insert them into my life. Like I might not have been able to.
You may want to watch that.
No. I'm pretty good with the tequila.
What, like tight lipping it and
No. I actually drink the tequila. Juanito's tequila, by the way. That's my jam right there.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Unlike some people I know who like, hey, shots everybody, and there's 10 people, including him, but there's only 9 shots poured. And you look at him and you think he's taking the bottle, but really he's just cheersing you, and you do it, and you're like, wait,
hold on a minute. I thought we were doing this together.
Yeah, what? I'll get you on the next one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
8 later.
Hey, just a quick little side note for you. Might help out one night. The color of beer and tequila is almost the same. So if you wanted to fill your shot glass up with beer and everybody else is with tequila, I'm not going to tell you that I've ever done this trick before, but I will tell you there's a pretty good chance you might get away with that deal.
Truly is light. Like that too. I could knock down some shots of Truly now.
Yeah. They're like, oh wow, look at that purple tequila.
So the way it came about was we had really, it was like extended family, and the guy was a salesman, and every time we'd go to his house, there'd be a fight on, like a Tyson fight or something, and he'd invite everybody over, and he would just start, the second you walked in, he was selling you a shot. Do a shot, let's do a shot, let's do a shot. I mean, relentless, dude, all night long. So by the time those fights come on, they're 12, 1 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You never
the
even
main
see
card.
the fight. I mean,
You feel like you've been hit by Tyson.
and you're
Like
trying
you're
to
laid
fight
out on the floor.
You're trying to fight the guy off all night long. It's like, dude, I don't know. Okay, all right. And you think I'll do it and he'll go away, but he doesn't go away. He just keeps coming back. So I came over one night and I'm like, yep, let's see how this deal goes. So I started on him. I did one real shot.
Yeah.
And then I opened up a beer. I set her on the side. And the second we did our shot, he went off and he chatted for a couple minutes. I filled my shot glass up. I'm like, I'm ready to go whenever you are, man. Just want you to know I'm good to go. Are you ready? I'm good to go. And I kept going, dude. And he never even saw the pre-fight. He was in the bathtub. His wife had to carry him up the stairs in the bathtub. I'm like, winner, chicken dinner.
Everyone's high-fiving Ken because they're like, we wanted that to happen for so long.
Yeah, we wanted it to happen, and now we can watch the fight.
Thank you for destroying Ted. Always is honest about that.
Oh, man. No, I love that part of the community. I love the camaraderie. I love how everyone just wants to have a good time. And that, like, we talked about diversity earlier, like, a lot like my barber, he'd be like, man, what's NASCAR? What's it like in there? I'm like, if you walk in there, people are going to look at you and then they're going to throw you a beer. They're going to tell you, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And you just go on back to their camper later on and you have a good time, man.
Right.
It's for everybody. Racing is literally for everybody.
And and that's the whole thing about it. We talk about the stars of the sports that we know and friends and things like that. At the end of the day, they just want to be treated like people. They don't need somebody, climbing on them. I mean, listen, they get that all day at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to hang out with the boys and, chill out. And it's funny that you said that Tony was that was your guy growing up. So I got two great stories that go with that. So we were...
Tell him just one. Just, if we could just get one of those, wouldn't...
I mean, we got to fill in some dead space. You haven't got this to say, so anyhow, might as well go ahead. I don't know what you two over here figured out before the show, but anyhow. So we're in Richmond, okay, at the Cup race. Tony's racing up the road at the... what is it? Virginia Motor Speedway, the dirt track.
Yeah, the dirt track.
Pretty wild place, by the way.
Is it?
I mean, it's a hammer down joint. It's a big place. So the folks that own that are the folks that used to own Richmond.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they have put big grandstands in, and they know how to bring people in. I mean, they're one of the original NASCAR track people that knew how to bring the fans to the show and things like that, which we need to get back to. Find a little of that gold again.
Yeah.
Anyhow, long and the short of it, we get done racing there. We go back to the hotel. Well, where we're staying at is the same place SHR's staying, Stuart Haas and everybody. So all of his teams are there. And we pull up and we're getting ready to walk in, and one of his teams is standing out there. I don't know, Harvick's team or whoever, Boyer at the time, is standing out front, and this African-American gentleman walks out. And he looks at Tony, and he absolutely loses it. He's like, man, I can't believe this, Tony Stewart. Like he is, and Tony, cool as a cucumber, sitting there talking to him. This dude's wife walks out. He's like, babe, you know who this is? She's like, is that the guy off Impractical Jokers? He's like, no, babe, this is Tony Stewart. Oh, okay. Like,
sweet. Why do I care?
Nothing.
Yeah, like
we went to Dick Jordan's funeral, and I mean, this was, it was 10 o'clock at night, but Tony had parked at our suite over at the Speedway, and we rode together because we didn't know how many people were going to be there. Well, anyhow, we get back 10 o'clock at night, and we see these two guys driving around the parking lot. It's two African-American dudes driving around the parking lot, and we can see them out there. We're like, what are they doing? So then they pull up, and they've got Virginia plates on.
Right.
And I said, hey, guys, what's going on? Hey, man, do you know how we get in there? I go, it's 10 o'clock at night. You're not getting in there unless you're looking to go to jail. You can't get in that place. This is closed, babe. He goes, oh, okay. And I said, where are you guys going? They're like, man, we're going to surprise our buddy in North Dakota. He's on leave, and we got a week off, so we're going to go surprise him. I was like, wow, that's cool, man. I said, that's a hell of a drive from Virginia, And he's like, yeah. And I said, you guys race fans? They're like, yeah, man, we're big race fans. And Tony pipes up and he says, do you like Virginia, or do you like Richmond, Richmond's track? And the driver says, it's okay. And the passenger, now the truck's blacked out inside, so nobody can see, and he's on the passenger side. The pastor said, "Man, is that Tony Stewart over there?" I was like, how did this guy even pick that up, right? But I mean, he picked it up like that. The next thing you know, he's like, "Man, can I get a picture, please?" And Tony's like, "Yeah, man, no problem." So I pull over and I said, "Tony, why don't we go upstairs to the suite and to our suite and just, and you can talk to them, hang out, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, let's do that." He spends over an hour with these guys, never met his wife. And you know what the funniest thing is that these guys wanted to know? Why did you hire Danica? And I looked at one of them. I said, "That's the question?" I was like, "You got anything else you could ask?" And that's the question. And he goes, "Yeah, man, it always just mesmerized me. Why would you hire?" He goes, and I loved what he said because it was from the heart and he meant it. He said, because we felt like we could be better, make her better.
Yeah.
And it would be a better team, and it didn't work out. Some things do and some things don't. But it was just interesting, the questions that they would ask. So anyhow.
Good stuff, man. Both stories were wonderful.
Yeah.
That was two. Oh, I thought it was one.
Yeah.
There was a quick interstitial.
Oh, there was two
between
different
those
people
two.
there.
Yeah, Carl.
Just go to break. Just go to break, all right?
Apparently, Rico wants to go to break, so we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back on the other side. In the meantime, listen to this beautiful music. This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Dream Giveaway. Dream Giveaway has been giving away high-end American muscle cars to raise money for charity since 2007. Dream Giveaway is known for giving away classic and new muscle and paying the federal taxes so the winners don't have to. For $25, you can jump in the game, and part of that goes to charity. You'll have a chance at winning some of the coolest cars on the planet. Check it out at dreamgiveaway.com. And once again, we welcome you back here to The Skinny, a very talented young man here at just the age of 28 years old.
Oh.
We, not at least 20, just 28 years old. Mamba Smith with us and has been scrapping his way in this racing industry, which is brutal if you have a ton of money. If you come from a family of average means, normal means, let me put it that way, and you want to make your way into the racing world, you better get ready for a dogfight because I don't care how talented you are, it's extremely difficult. And this talented young man has been forging his way through with whatever skills he can deliver. And you have a number of skills from working on cars and building cars, social media, extremely good at that. You have your own podcast as well, to driving cars. So I applaud you, man, for bringing every tool in the chest to the game and throwing them all out whenever you can.
Man, I think the only thing I haven't done is probably drive the tractor trailer truck, and I refuse to get a CDL because once you get a CDL, boys and girls, you are
we know
done.
what you're doing.
Yeah, you are done. You don't get to do anything fun anymore. You get to wash the truck and drive the truck. So I refuse. But everything else.
Yeah, I know. I've had mine for a long time, and I still get to do that.
That's fun. Well, yeah. Well, yours looks good though.
Thank you.
The matte black, that thing is
you.
nice.
Well, I mean, so we can make you one matte black and get your CDL, and maybe you can drive it.
I'll drive yours to a couple shows.
That's good.
Do you need a CDL to drive that thing?
Nah, we don't think so.
I drove Sean Rahal earlier this year was going from Atlanta down to East Bay. And I had a week or two off. He's like, "Hey man, will you drive this bus for me?" And I'm like, "Sure." I didn't tell him till after we started. I've never driven a bus before.
Steering wheel, gas
like,
pedals. I mean, how hard can it be?
I'm like, air brake.
Yeah.
I've seen this before on the movies.
Watch the swing on your trailer, buddy.
Hey, I saw this on Convoy.
It made me feel like a big time trucker. It was cool. Those things are weird though. Other than the air, like when you're driving next to a tractor trailer truck and they're ripping at like 70 and you're just trying to get down the road at 60. That's a little rough.
I've never done that.
Yeah, whenever you're passing them and you got this much wheel in it. Trying to
Yeah, we were driving to Vegas to the NHRA event across Flagstaff, and like this the whole time. I mean, it was
Just scrubbing the front tire
Yeah,
off.
it was wild. I mean, it's just like, how does this work like this? But yeah, I get it. If you have your CDL, you're definitely in another group of, we'll get him to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Why do I have to do this?
It just falls under the category of I don't want to do it.
I mean, our good buddy Robbie Fast, and he's I spot for Scott Dixon. I'm in turn 3.
Oh, no kidding.
Robbie Fast is in turn 1 and has been Dixon's spotter for many, many years. Well, he also drives a transporter for Ganassi.
Yeah.
But that poor bastard, he'll drive the tractor trailer down, or for example, he'll down to St. Pete, drop it off, and then they'll fly him back up here. He'll get in somebody's bus, drive the bus down, and then when he's at the races, he takes care of a whole bunch of other duties.
Yeah.
You know, of course, keeping that thing clean, but then, you know, everything that you're setting up the pits, breaking the pits down, and then goes in spots for Dixie in the middle of it all. I mean, the dude is crazy, crazy busy. One of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet in the industry. But yeah, I'll pass on his gig, man. He is driving around this country relentlessly.
Other than messing with the Swedes, he's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah. He gave us a couple tips, didn't he? He's a good cat.
Oh, you ought to use these. Yeah, we're good. We're not doing that. When we had Marcus Erickson and Rosenquist on, they were on the week after him. And after Dixon and Robbie was on, and Robbie's like, "Oh, talk to him about the Swedish chef." We're like, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
And the sweetest fish.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Clearly not doing it, of course. So then we have to bring it up after we kind of get things going. And they're like, "Yeah, real funny."
I will say, so Twitter started this new thing called Twitter Spaces. So you can go live, you can talk to 10 people. 10 people can talk at one time, and anyone that wants to join can join in. So there's this thing on there called Racing Spaces. I joined in there. No, sorry, not that one. I was on a different one. A bunch of designers, a bunch of young kids. They're designing race cars, like, you know, because now with Instagram and everything, like, that's a viable way to get noticed.
Right.
And they were talking about stuff like, because, you know, Marcus Lemonis has been like giving people an opportunity to put their design work out there, and he might pick it or whatever. They were kind of like, they're a little hemmed up about, you know, putting in the work, and then if they weren't picked, not getting compensated for it, right? Which I kind of understood what they were saying, but my point to them was, and this is like for everybody, right, really, is like, you have to do a lot of stuff that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. And like, that is so important to know that that's earning your stripes. Like, if you don't put in the work beforehand, you ain't ever going to get to where you want to go. Like, I say yes to the dumbest stuff and like hard work and stuff. And like, whether it's, you know,
Make sure we write that down. Okay.
Yeah, when did we start this show?
Yeah, hold on a minute.
Did you compensation? See.
Hold on. What does that mean?
It was December 2019, I think.
Yeah.
And so when is that all that hard work, and when's that compensation thing start?
I'm gonna have to look up in the dictionary what compensation means, and I'll get back to you. He's using these words.
We're a year and a half into this thing, and
I mean, so I started Fatheads in 04. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You know what I did this morning? I mean, I don't know what everybody else was doing at 5 a.m. I was driving to Portland, Indiana, to pick up a load of our new Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Yes, sir.
Which very, very proud of. A lot of hard work went into by the group, and but you know what? It's like, I mean, who else am I mean? Hey, you know, I mean, he clearly wouldn't have been able to get up that early. I mean, Geritol still would have been kicking in. So,
yeah.
You know, but anyhow,
I was with you in spirit.
Oh, it felt like it the whole way.
Right on the lower half, he really felt shit.
I woke up at
like the turtle
up
head.
at 6 a.m. and I was like, I hope Rico's doing okay. I better get a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
I'll text him here about 8.
Yeah,
see where you at. Well, yeah, bud.
Hey,
did you get up there? I mean, are you headed back yet?
You on your way back yet? I want to see the book. Let's see what that looks like.
Brand new edition. It is our first edition, Volume 1, Issue 1. While the Drag Racing Edge magazine has been out there before, this is the first one that we have produced. Hats off to the entire staff. Our chief editor, Evan Smith, is also a fabulous photographer and has a ton of photos in here, including the one on the cover. But this is available as of today So we'll be handing these things out at Charlotte and Dallas, and it is a bi-monthly magazine,
Houston.
and it's called Drag Racing Edge. I'm sorry, Houston. Yes, sorry. Drag Racing Edge. So check that out. It is available. Art of the Wheelie is the first volume, issue 1. So
That is
pretty cool, man. And the magazine is beautiful. It absolutely has some. Really
I'm glad
cool
you
stuff
talked
in it,
me
so.
into that.
Congratulations on that, guys. That's really cool.
Some people have a vision, dude, and some people don't.
Ken the whole way is like, man, are you sure about this? I'm not really sure that we did.
So are you talking about print?
Like
magazine?
printing a book magazine? Like, is this online only?
Yeah.
Do you know how that's trending? Just curious.
No,
We're going to break the trend.
I think we're going to have
Someone's
fun
got
with
to.
it. Time for a quick break. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. This segment of The Skinny is brought to you by Toyota.
One thing COVID had made, like if you didn't, I figured out real quick, no matter, even with all this stuff I have going on, if you didn't change something in your life in a positive way from COVID, if you didn't learn something about yourself or learn that you didn't like what you're doing or that you needed more of something, then you wasted, I feel like, the whole COVID time for sure. And
Alcohol.
Yeah. I knew that I need more Truly and more Hornitos, so I got that. I got my Hornitos kicks on.
Very good.
I'm gonna
Very
go down the street, get a case of the peach Trulies. I love those things. Anyway, it's your shameless plugs right there.
I like
telling
it.
you,
You
stuff.
like that?
I
You like
mean,
that?
Yeah.
No,
stuff.
but I started a little media company called Mamba Media that we're building out. We're bringing together a bunch of motorsports content and podcasts and people that are doing it for fun, but have a knack for it and are good at it and should be doing it for more. But they can't. Something I figured out with my show, the Racing Fan Zone I was doing, is even though I had who's who in NASCAR people in there, it wasn't going to get sponsored because this is one singular show. I had to spread out. So that's what we've done, and we're bringing people together. And I love giving people opportunity to reach their potential. I like being a part of that process, and that's why I think I love like kids, is because watching them like grow and learn and start figuring out what they love and helping them mold that and like go be great. Like,
Adults, too. I mean,
Why are you pointing at Ken?
I don't know why he's pointing at me and saying adult. Clearly missed the mark at that opportunity.
My bad.
He's the loud one that got in trouble in school, so that makes sense.
Listen.
I was right with him, by the way. Just
Exactly.
different
That's
school.
what I did completely. Yeah, don't put us in the same room together.
Yeah, no, they immediately close the doors. We
Yes.
tell them, you need a special room for us. No, you guys will be fine.
No, you're fine.
And,
This
yep,
is quiet back here.
About
5
10 minutes in, they start closing doors, and all those walls you didn't think existed, but they can move around. Pretty
Yeah.
soon, we had our own little space.
Yeah, they built an origami,
Origami.
area for us. It was good stuff.
Hey, man, one more question. We'll let you go. We've had you on here
Yeah.
for a little bit. Tell me how you got the name.
Well, if you ask this one guy on Twitter, it was something to do with something that it wasn't. But no, so 2009, I go down to Charlotte for the first time, and I'm part of that diversity program, and we go-karting, part of the deal. We go go-karting. And I picked a name, and at the time, Kobe Bryant was the best basketball player on the planet. They call him the Black Mamba. I'm like, man, I like that. I like Kobe. Like, I'm going to put that in. So I put that in my racer name. I leave. Didn't know I was going to move to Charlotte for the next 10 years, but I come back, I move, and it keeps your name in the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right? So the next time I go, I'm going with like Brandon McReynolds, Joey Logano, Corey LaJoy, Ryan Flores, Mark Davis, like a bunch of racers, right? They have this go-karting league called Field Fillers that they run actual go-karts at, but they off-season, like, hey, let's all go go-karting. So I got invited, and first time meeting all these guys. And they're looking at the leaderboard. I think I was like, I don't know, 7th or 8th out of like 20 or whatever. And they're like looking at it like, who's the Black Mamba? Again, 5'6", 7" me.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Like, hey, nice to meet. I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you. and they're like, that's awesome. And like because I'm of Haitian descent, so my helmet at the time was painted up. It said Hot Rod Haitian on it. So they're like, that's great. Like,
that's awesome.
And so that next race, I start on the pole. Like, to my left is LaJoy, to my right is Logano. Right behind me is like either Flores or McReynolds. We get going. Here we go into the first turn. It's a hairpin. I'm like wide open. I'm like, oh my God, this really feels like a bad. I went to hit the brakes to get out of the middle of a 3-wide situation. They drove me so hard into the corner. They had to stop the race and pry the go-kart out from under the wall.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the crew. And I'm like,
Bud.
hey. After that, like everyone was K&N racing at the time, so I was on, like I said, I was on Larson's crew and around. So like
Right.
they didn't know my name. I swear to God, they didn't know my name, and for like a year. I remember I had one buddy named Too Tall, Michael Medill. He calls me one time, leaves me a voicemail. He goes, I don't know who Dylan is, but if Black Mamba, if this is you, call me back, man. We're trying to do some stuff, and I'm like. Yeah, that's me too. Yeah, that's my government name. Try not to use it too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I judge.
great.
That's how I judge how long I've known you. If you call me Dylan, you're north of the Mason-Dixon line, and we probably went to high school together.
Right.
If you call me Mamba, you're south or everywhere else.
That's great.
And so that's how I judge it.
Awesome
Yeah.
stuff.
So, question for you: Do you love what you're doing now?
Dude, I love it. I talk about, like, I put a post out the other day that what if I told you your dreams are just your glass ceiling? My dream was to be in NASCAR, be in racing, and this, that, and the other, right? Well, like, I've been doing that since I got down here, but it's offered up so many other things, like being able to meet you guys and being around NHRA and being around Ferrari Challenge and Dodge and all this stuff. And so I've already done shattered what I thought my dream was, being a kid from Vermont. And the journey has just like taken me to a wholly different place. And so I love it, and we're building on it. I'm putting myself around a lot of people. I've been able to connect the dots to make
Right.
a lot of new business opportunities happen, and I'm excited about it.
And that's one of the biggest things in it is connecting the dots.
That's it,
because listen, you can have as much education as you want, and if you don't have the right connections and the right people that are around you, I mean that's what it's all about. So know if there's anything that we can do for you, short of write a full sponsorship check, we would be more than. Did you hear that?
Loud and clear.
What has the Skinny been on a race car? Like, has the Skinny been on a race car?
We're on Roberts.
We're on the side. My son's driving a truck for and super stadium trucks for Robbie Gordon.
Is he really?
We got him on the side of that.
That's all. I thought I
Have
seen
you
it
drove
some-
one of those?
No, but I know where
Wild.
Robbie's shop is, and those guys are always practicing right there in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah.
of it.
He went down there and shook it down. Yeah,
That's nuts.
it was.
Yeah, he said that it was like nothing.
It's a crazy. I mean, he's won championships in sports cars and short course off road, and he's driven a lot of different stuff. And he said, "Man, I've never been in anything even remotely close to that thing."
Let me tell you, we're talking about kids and people coming up and watching potential. Max Gordon.
Oh, Max is.
Oh yeah,
Max
Yeah.
Gordon. If you don't know his name, you will, I promise, because I don't know what he's going to be
He's a
racing.
spitting image of Dad.
And he drives just like Dad did.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is going to be.
Can you tell the story about him and the drivers' meeting?
Yeah, well, he shook down all the trucks, like because we just raced at
You're
St. Pete.
talking who shook down?
Max.
Max. Did.
12 years old.
12 years old.
12 years old, and he shook down every truck that they took to St. Pete to run here just a couple of weeks
I mean,
ago.
that is wild.
So,
He's
and
so good.
yeah, I mean, he's super talented. No question. You know, we were talking to Davey Hamilton, and Davey Hamilton said, I went there and I was supposed to get a UTV, and Gordon tells him, Robbie says, it's in the truck. He looks at Max. He said, Max, go get it go get the UTV out of the truck. Well, the truck is a tractor trailer. It's got the lift gate down, but it's not all the way down. It's up in the air. So he looks up there and he says he's thinking he's going to roll it out there and just lower the gate. And he said, nope. He stands on the throttle and just sails it off the back of the tailgate and lands it on the ground. There's your UTV, buddy.
There you go, Bob.
Kid's crazy.
He's crazy. So
fearless.
I think he was 9 years old when he didn't just drive in, but completed the Baja 1000 at like the age of 9 with Dad, I believe it was, in a UTV. So he's already had a ton of desert experience. But as we talked about, his attitude, his personality, I want to say. His personality is just like his dad. He's aggressive. He's just a switched-on little guy, and he has more confidence. He's got truckloads of confidence. So, yeah, we're in a driver's meeting, and Bo Lamassus is in there. And
you know who Bo?
Yeah, I know.
So
who Bo is.
wound up dude, right?
Yeah.
So Bo gets in there, and Bo's all excited. He's about to drive these trucks. He's never been in one ever. He's about to drive this truck. So we're in the driver's meeting, and he's all wound up because he owns Salem. And he says, well, I'm going to get these trucks at Salem. We're going to sponsor you guys. We're going to get everybody a bunch of seat time. And he's rattling off, boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. And finally, Max looks at him and says, Bo, this isn't a business meeting. This is a driver's meeting, and tries to get him back in line. And Robbie says, hey, Max, it's always business. But Max is telling, there was the youngest guy in the room and the oldest guy in the room, and the youngest guy in the room was telling the oldest guy, hey, sit back for a minute.
Bring it in.
Yeah. Reel her in for a minute so we can get through this thing. It was just really funny, man, to listen to him go at it.
Again, if there's anything we can do for you in your ventures, we're always here, and definitely believe in you, even though Sarah had a hard sell. Actually, she didn't have a hard sell. Sarah just had a hard time getting me to stop to listen for a minute, as always. So, but I'm glad and fortunate that we did, because I'm glad to have you as a friend more than anything.
Yes, sir.
But as somebody that's involved with our company and companies, and we take that all pretty serious. So
it's an honor to be here, man. I'm happy to rep the team and be a part of the family, and see what else we can do throughout the year.
Send a little advice your way from someone who's been down a chunk of this road already with my son, who's 29 years old, so right there with you. And watching people like Cody Swanson chase his goals, if you want to put them there. You said your dreams have kind of come true, and now you want to bust through that ceiling and accomplish your goals. The one thing I will tell you is, much like we just said, maybe it never happens for Cody, maybe it never happens for my son. And whenever we say that, we mean make it to the big leagues, if you will, NASCAR, IndyCar, whatever that may be. But in the meantime, enjoy that ride.
Yeah, man.
Because that ride could very well end up being your life, and you don't want to wash it all away and spend it frustrated because you didn't get to that final step. It wasn't for lack of trying. It just didn't work out for any number of reasons, right? But enjoy the ride, man, because you're on a pretty cool one, and you're certainly a talented young man, and you got a lot going for you. You bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, so enjoy it, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. We're just getting started. I don't know where we're going to end up, but I'm definitely enjoying it step by step.
And remember, you stopped playing golf so you could enjoy something.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, golf is not my deal. Unless you want someone to beat, I'm down.
That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Black Mamba Smith, thanks, buddy. We appreciate you coming here and hanging out with us for a little bit. Hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being with us here on The Skinny. This episode has been brought to you by Toyota, Rhino Classifieds, Dream Giveaway, and General Tire. For the latest in sunglasses, optical frames, accessories, and apparel, be sure to check out fatheads.com. That's Fatheads with a Z. Production facilities provided by Fatheads Eyewear Studios. All rights reserved.